You have checked your bank balance at 11 p.m. on a Sunday and immediately closed the app. Not because you forgot the number, because you already knew the number, and knowing it with your eyes open felt worse than just sensing it in the background. You have watched money arrive and then somehow, without any single dramatic decision, watched it disappear before the month was done. You have told yourself next month will be different. You have meant it every single time. And next month came and went the same way. If any of that is familiar, I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes. Because what I am about to say is going to feel uncomfortable before it feels useful, and it needs to feel both. The story most people tell about why they are broke is an outside story. The economy, the cost of living, the salary that never quite keeps up, the unexpected expenses that always seem to arrive at exactly the wrong time. And I am not dismissing any of that. The outside pressure is real. The gap between what things cost and what most people earn is genuinely brutal in ways that did not exist a generation ago. But here is what that outside story cannot explain. Why two people in the same job, earning the same salary, living in the same city, end up in completely different financial situations after 5 years. Why one person manages to build something small but real, and the other is still starting over every single month. The outside circumstances are identical. The result is not. Which means something on the inside is doing something the outside story cannot account for. Think about the first time you ever saw an adult handle money. Not talk about it. Handle it. The way they counted it, or did not. The way they spent it when things were good, or held it when things were tight. The way they talked about people who had more of it, with admiration or resentment or quiet shame. You were not sitting there taking notes. You were just a child absorbing the atmosphere of your house. But your brain was building a model. A working theory of what money is, who it belongs to, how it behaves, and whether people like you are supposed to have it. And that model, built from 1,000 small, unremarkable moments before you were old enough to question any of them, is still running in the background of almost every financial decision you make today. This is not a comforting thing to discover. It is much easier to believe the problem is external, because external problems have external solutions. But an internal program running on a 20-year-old file does not respond to a new budget or a savings app or a motivational video about financial freedom. It responds to being seen clearly and named specifically. And most people never do that. Not because they are not smart enough. Because nobody ever told them this program existed. Here is what it looks like in real life, and I want you to check whether any of this is yours. If you grew up in a house where money was always almost enough, but never quite, where there was always something that needed paying and not quite enough to pay it, your nervous system learned something specific. Money is temporary. It comes, and then it leaves, and the leaving is faster than the arriving. So when money appears now, your first instinct is to move it. Spend it before something else claims it. Not because you are irresponsible, because waiting felt dangerous for so long that your body never got the memo that the situation changed. If you grew up watching adults go silent when money came up, treating it like a subject too heavy or too shameful to discuss openly, you likely became someone who also does not look directly at their finances, who checks the balance but does not really register it, who gets to the end of the month genuinely unsure where it all went because looking felt worse than not knowing. Avoidance was the only model available, so avoidance became the default. And if you grew up in a house where buying things was how love got expressed, where a good week meant a treat, and a hard week got softened with a purchase, and the adults around you managed stress by spending, then you learned an equation that still lives in your body today. Money out equals relief. Discomfort in equals money out. And every time life gets heavy, now your nervous system reaches for that same relief without asking your conscious mind for permission first. You spend and then feel guilty. You feel guilty and then spend again. Not because you lack discipline, because discipline was never the missing ingredient. Recognition was. The people who turn their financial lives around are almost never the people who found the best budgeting system or the most aggressive savings strategy. They are the people who sat with one specific uncomfortable question long enough to actually answer it. The question is this: what did I learn to believe about money before I was old enough to choose what to believe? Not what do I know intellectually. What do I believe in my body? What feels true even when the numbers say otherwise? What do I tell myself about why people like me do or do not build wealth? That question answered honestly, not defensively, not quickly, but really sat with, is the beginning of something that no financial product, and no motivational content can replicate. Because once you see the program clearly, you can start making choices that contradict it. Small ones at first. Uncomfortably small. Saving something before everything else leaves the account, even when it feels pointless. Looking at the number, even when looking feels bad. Pausing before the purchase and asking whether this is a genuine need or whether this is the old relief response reaching for its usual exit. You will not always choose differently, but sometimes you will. And sometimes is how patterns change. The financial situation you are in right now was not built in a day, and it will not be rebuilt in one either. But it was also not built by your income alone. It was built by a set of beliefs so old and so familiar that they stopped feeling like beliefs and started feeling like facts. They are not facts. They are a first draft. And first drafts can be rewritten. Not easily. Not all at once. But one honest look at a time. If this describes something you have never quite had words for before, drop a comment and tell me, what money belief do you think you absorbed without realizing it? Now, if you want to go deeper on exactly how these patterns work, I want to point you to 3 things in the description below. The first is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It is the most honest, readable book ever written about why people make the financial decisions they actually make rather than the ones they think they make. It will take you a weekend to finish, and you will think about it for years. The second is Your Money or Your Life, which goes even deeper into the emotional relationship between money and how you actually feel about your one life. Both are linked below as Amazon affiliate links. If you purchase through them, I earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. And the third, if you want the core ideas from both of these books and hundreds of others in under 15 minutes each, is Blinkist. It is a book summary app that lets you get the most important ideas from the best nonfiction books in the world in the time it takes to make a cup of tea. I have linked it below as well. That link gets you a free trial, so you can try it before you pay anything. Subscribe because next week we are going somewhere just as uncomfortably honest. See you there.